If you found this video, it's probably because you're having some trouble getting lucid. Whether it's just that you've never been lucid, whether it's that you were lucid dreaming all of the time and suddenly you stopped being able to get lucid, or maybe there's just that one technique that you keep trying and no matter how many times you try it, it doesn't seem to work. The fact is, we've all been there. I have been there too. I remember when I was struggling to perform wild, I was laying in bed, performing the techniques over and over again, and I felt like I was getting closer and closer. I felt like I would get part of the way there, but I would just never seem to succeed, and it was really kind of frustrating. And I've had this with other techniques as well, where I'll start to perform the technique and everyone says that, this is the easiest technique in the world, and I'll follow the steps, I'll try it out, and it just doesn't seem to work as easily for me. Over the years, I've learned where I was going wrong with these things, and that's what I want to try and address in today's video. Hey guys, welcome back to Tipharot. It's me, Matt here, and today we're talking about trouble getting lucid, something I've dedicated an entire chapter to, chapter 7 in the Lucid Dream book. More on that a little bit later. Now, one of my big motivations for actually writing that book was this trouble getting lucid, because it's something I struggled with so much over the years, and as I learned to move past that, I realised that I wasted a lot of time that I wouldn't have wasted if I just knew a few simple things, or just took the time to reread a few things. Because that's really one of the biggest things that helped me, was actually going back and looking at these same guides that I learned from. If you're trying to learn a particular technique, and you're sitting there failing over and over again, you might not realise that there's a single step that you're doing wrong that is just messing up the whole thing. The most common step that this ends up being, I think, for a lot of people, is not getting in REM. Someone, like myself, I was doing this all of the time when I first started. I found a guide on how to perform wild, and I would get in bed, excited to lucid dream, and I would lay there, I would perform all of the steps, and nothing happened. I'd do it again the next night, and the next, and the next, and the next, for weeks, and nothing was happening. Why was nothing happening? Because I wasn't in REM. I missed that first crucial step. And if I'd just gone back, looked at the guide again, I would have noticed that. The other thing I suggest here is actually looking at multiple guides, because some people are going to emphasize the steps that are most important to them and put a little bit less emphasis on things that they think are obvious. Again, REM being one of them. A lot of people will put a lot of time in their guides on all of the steps you have to perform after you're in REM, but they'll sort of gloss over the whole REM part, and people watching it might not think about how important that is, that you need to be in REM when you're attempting to lucid dream, at least with certain techniques like wild. So 1, make sure that you're in REM, which you can do by setting an alarm to wake you up after 6 hours of sleep. Now, it's important that you go for 6 hours of sleep and not just 6 hours in bed. If it takes you an hour to fall asleep, then you setting your alarm for 6 hours from then is going to mean you only get 5 hours of sleep, and you're probably not going to wake up in REM. Now, individual REM periods will differ, but generally they occur every 90 minutes of sleep. So if you want to set one for 3 hours into the night, that's fine as well, or even 90 minutes into the night. If you're perhaps sleeping shorter one night, you can use one of the earlier REM periods. The reason that most guides, and that myself as well, will suggest that you use the 6 hour one is that that tends to be the longest REM period of the night. As the night progresses, your REM periods tend to get longer. Maybe yours starts a little bit earlier than someone else's, or a little bit later. If you aim for the 6 hour REM period, you're more likely to actually land on it. The next part of this step is experimenting a bit. If you've been trying techniques that require you to get in REM and you haven't actually been finding them to work, then you might need to adjust that alarm clock a little bit. Maybe you have been sleeping for 6 hours every time, but you do need to set yours for, 6 hours and 15 minutes, or 6 hours and 30 minutes, or 5 hours and 30 minutes. Start with 6, try that out for a week or two, and then adjust a little bit up or down from there, and give it another week or two before you adjust again. A good sign that you've actually landed in REM is if you wake up and find that you woke up right from a dream, because the vast majority of your dreams that you're going to recall when you wake up from them are occurring in REM. And 2, like I said, make sure that you've got every step right. Go over the guide and look at the steps, and first of all, look at which steps you are doing, and then look if there's anything in there that you're not sure about or that you might be doing wrong. And if there's a step that you're unsure about when you're performing a technique, ask someone, ask in the comments on one of my videos, or ask one of your friends who's into lucid dreaming, or perhaps check another guide to see if they've clarified on that step a little bit better. There are also various things that can interfere with REM. Perhaps you're taking a new medication, perhaps your sleep times have changed. Pay attention to these things and experiment again with the actual times that you use for your alarm. Now, if you seem to be doing everything right, but it just doesn't seem to be working, and you even experimented with different techniques, but you're just not getting the results, a big thing can be your mindset. A lot of the time when you have bad results of lucid dreaming, you have a period where you're just not getting lucid, or maybe you just started out and every technique you've tried doesn't seem to work, then you're going to get into that mindset of, oh, maybe lucid dreaming just doesn't work for me. And you're going to subconsciously expect it not to work, which is going to interfere with your results. So having the right mindset can be vital. Now, there's lots of things that you can do to improve your mindset. There's lots of different tools that you can use. Another thing that I've given an entire chapter to in my book. And one of the things that I cover in that chapter is the use of things like guided meditations and hypnosis. These aren't a magic bullet that are just going to make you lucid dream every night all the time. They can actually give you, nightly lucid dreams for some people. But generally what I use them for is a way to increase the frequency of lucid dreams that I'm having from my existing techniques. And it's especially useful if I'm having a bit of a time where I'm just not getting many lucid dreams. I'll start listening to lucid dreaming hypnosis or guided meditation tracks, as well as performing my existing techniques, and I'll find that I get an increased frequency of lucid dreams. That's why I've actually made several of those hypnosis and guided meditation tracks on my channel for you guys, which you can check out in the actual playlist for those. To improve your mindset, you can also try using a new technique to the ones that you've used before, mixing things up a little bit, and just sort of getting yourself excited to lucid dream again. Start things afresh. Remember what it was that motivated you to want to lucid dream in the first place, and remind yourself of that. Listen to some lucid dreaming stories from different people. Get a bit inspired, and then pick a technique that you think is going to work well for you, and give it a go for a couple of weeks. There are other things you can do to improve your mindset, again, which I've talked about in that chapter in my book. Things like affirmations, the placebo effect, herbs and supplements. There's all sorts that you can use to aid your actual results. Now go ahead and try these things out. And if you're still not getting as many lucid dreams as you'd like, whether it's that you're not getting lucid at all, whether it's that particular techniques aren't working for you, or maybe you are getting lucid quite frequently, but you want to get lucid more often. That's why I wrote the Lucid Dream book. I want to help you guys not deal with some of the same struggles that I had to deal with when I started out, not make some of those same mistakes, and get to where I'm at now a lot faster. In the first chapter, I cover the rules of lucid dreaming, the things you need to know about how lucid dreaming actually works before you even get started. In the second chapter, I talk about building a foundation, the core pillars that you should set up before you even start using your first technique. In chapter 3, I talk about how to actually get lucid. I give you a variety of different techniques because everyone is going to prefer something different. Everyone has a different schedule. Some people are going to want to do the more involved techniques like wild, and other people are just going to want to sit back and do reality checks throughout the day and not worry about things like alarms waking you up in REM and so on. I made sure that there was a technique in there for everyone. And in the next chapter, I talk about actually staying lucid, because it's all well and good if you can get lucid, but if your lucid dreams just end in 10 seconds because you get too excited or because you can't stabilize them, then, well, you're not going to get anything done in them and it's not going to be any use to you. So I made an entire chapter just about how you can make your lucid dreams last a lot longer. Now, in the 5th chapter, that's where all the fun stuff starts to happen. Once you've got lucid, once you've learned how to make those lucid dreams last, that's where we get into actually making use of dream control. All the fun things that you can do in your lucid dreams, how to go about doing them, the actual right mindset to use when it comes to dream control, along with various little tricks that you can use to make dream control a lot easier. And then I go into detail on how you can even craft your own dream control techniques to really customize the experience for yourself. After that, I talk about lucid dreaming aids and tools, those things that you can use if you are struggling to get as many lucid dreams as you like, or if you just want to amplify your results a bit. The next chapter is all about this video, trouble getting lucid, and what you can do if you're having that trouble. The different things that you can do to actually ensure that you can get lucid and you stop having wasted nights where you perform a technique and nothing happens. And finally, last but not least, I have a chapter called Beyond, where I go into every other thing that I thought I wanted to put in there. Stuff like nightmares, stuff like actually getting lucid in that liminal space between dreams, stuff like actually how lucid dreaming can impact your waking life and let you live your life more lucidly, and a whole lot more. So be sure to check that chapter out if you do read the book. Now, for a limited time, if you are struggling to lucid dream, we're going to do a little bit of a discount on the book. It's going to be 40% off. Just use the code GETLUCID to get 40% off at checkout when you check out the book. And just for this weekend only, anyone that purchases the book this weekend is going to get an email directly from me, and you can write back to me with any of your lucid dreaming questions, and I will write back with a personalised answer just for you. Thank you guys for watching the video. I hope you've enjoyed. I hope you found this helpful. Do be sure to check out the book, and if you're not already, make sure you subscribe and enable all notifications so you can stay up to date when our new videos come out. And if you want to keep watching, check out one of those videos on screen, go watch that, and I'll see you there soon. Take care.